Now, if you would have asked me if Young Miami would return to the couch with saucy Santana putting her in the hot seat, I would have said you were crazy. Not in big old controversial Cat Williams 2024. And yet, here we are, diving into the worlds of the City Girls fallout, JT jealousy, throwing the diddler under the bus, and a whole lot of crying. But all I gotta say is, Caresha Please, you ain't slick. Let's get into it. But first, welcome to the channel. Hey, hi, what's Zan with it? I'm C, and I do rap and pop culture commentary. So if you're into that, subscribe and hit the like button. When I first saw that Young Miami was teasing the release of Season 2 of Caresha Please, I'll admit I was a little bit surprised. Seeing the snippet of her getting emotional and saucy Santana being, well, his typical saucy self, was enough to pique my interest. For starters, in the opening of this episode, Caresha has a disclaimer saying that she had no plans to be strategic, which immediately feels a bit insincere. I mean, after all, you do know they're talking about Diddy, JT, and all of the other shenanigans you've been through lately is sure to create more chatter and attention around the return of your show and Caresha Please itself. Caresha's music might be challenged, but the marketing is usually on point. And yet during the intro of this episode, I can't help but to think about how she said that the show was canceled. Now, I will admit, I actually was watching it, especially the episodes with artists like G Herbo and Kevin Gates. It always felt like Young Miami brought a fun, bubbly side out of these otherwise hardcore rappers. And to be honest, I thought that having this platform was a good look for Young Miami prior to the major Diddy allegations coming out. I knew long ago that the City Girls were destined to be done, even during the previous episode with JT. It felt so disconnected. So I felt that Caresha transitioning to the show would be cool. It showcased her personality. She could throw in some ads for the Risha Roulette game. But overall, it was just so Diddy-fied that it was insane. I mean, as soon as the guest asked for a Caresha Please cocktail, we got to hear the diddler's raspy voice talking about Deleon, owned by a black man. That audio alone could be the topic of a Boondocks episode, bruh. Like, please be for real. Just let them enjoy the damn drink. But what I did feel was real were the tears, because they immediately started pouring when saucy Santana started diving into the interview with a mental health check-in. If anything, I enjoy the dynamic of Santana asking questions. I feel like he's a great addition to the show, and in the past, he really should have been a co-host. But if I'm not mistaken, he was offered the role, but chose not to take it as he didn't want to seem like the messy gay guy on a podcast or talk show. Now, he most definitely chose to go on Love and Hip Hop, and that's certainly a choice. But, I mean, JT certainly wasn't about to be asking no questions. And let's go ahead and get the JT talk out of the way, because Caresha says she does not want to talk about it anymore. Okay then. When it comes to JT and Caresha's relationship, she says it ain't all good, but it ain't all bad. They don't check in frequently or talk much, but she also admits what many of us speculated, that things have been rocky for a minute because they outgrew each other a long time ago. Now, one interesting thing that seemed to bother Caresha was that JT has been out here working on her solo music and other things, and Caresha never even knew. Now, I'm not sure if that was a little bit of saltiness or jealousy. It could even be betrayal, right? Because how would you feel if you were in a music duo, you held it down while the other member got locked up, even through your pregnancy, and once you get everything back together and she's free, you start dropping, you start flopping. Here JT is working on solo stuff behind your back. Would you be upset? But Caresha isn't exactly off the hook, because when Saucy Santana asked why she didn't defend JT during her Twitter beef with Cardi B, Caresha pulls a "my name Bennett and I ain't in it," or in her words, she was left off bad and bougie, aka the super freaky girl queen mix. Young Miami essentially said that when the cover art was teased, She was over there trying to figure out who from Miami was on the song because she knew nothing about it. She had no idea JT was even on it. She thought it was Trina on the track. Now that's hilarious when you think about it, especially how Nicki and Trina have had their differences, but at least we got Baps though. That is one of my favorite female rap songs ever. We were truly robbed of a video, but it be like that sometimes. Overall, it seems like Caresha is pleading this case of, I ain't in it, so I ain't defending JT. And that's how you know over time, it ain't never really been City Girls-ish, because you didn't ride for JT during this, and JT didn't ride for you or clearly check on you during your darkest moments with all of the Diddy allegations. During the final moments of the City Girls, Caresha's relationship with him was able to snag them act bad. And if we really want to get technical, I feel like Good Love with Usher was also likely assisted by Diddy's relationships and status, which is why when she brought up the fact that people made Diddy synonymous with her as a person and a brand, but she thought that she was never bigger than the program and she was still showing up to her City Girl stuff even while she was with him, I really couldn't help but to roll my eyes. Let's keep it real. Young Miami used to be MIA. Hell, JT used to be MIA. All right, out of here. They both used to be ducked off, vacationing, spending them coins, writing for their relationships. Their relationships became their personal brands. And I'm not sure if this happened because they were having creative differences as a group or simply because this was their soft girl, I want to be taken care of and not work hard era. But either way, the City Girls as a brand was completely out and Uzi and Diddy were in. Now that is some City Girls-ish. Yes, they were doing these things she mentioned, like remixes, doing things that were label obligations, like going on tour with Jack Harlow. Where is Jack Harlow? He out here on Apple TV acting. But anyways, one thing I find to be interesting is that Young Miami said she was crucified for celebrating Diddy when the world was celebrating him. You know, getting this Lifetime Achievement Award, the world giving him his flowers, he's in his love era. And while that might be true, we all kind of knew Diddy was up to some things. And if you were dating him, I mean, you knew too. And at some point, I feel like Caresha wouldn't dare go against that grain, right? This was her meal ticket to take her from the projects of City Girl Central to the secluded islands of Millionaire D. She was not about to mess that up. I mean, she was out here fussing with his other chicks on social media, and although she admits to no longer dating him, she says that she did not plan to get with him for the sake of getting a purse or her body done or any of these other material things, but instead learning from him and elevating herself. And in an effort to shut up the naysayers, she says that she has this podcast with and without him. Okay. And you better hold tight to it, sis, okay? Caresha Please. Because although she has a project and a single ready to release, the label said that there is no growth in Caresha's music. Apparently, it's because her friends are grown now, which is valid, right? The City Girls were a moment in time, an era. It was never meant to be forever, and in my opinion, never sustainable enough to last the test of time in the rap game. Her solo music, you know, for me, it's just really not it. I mean, if you get Skilla Baby on a song and it still doesn't do that well, what more can we do? Maybe Route 49 next time. Or actually, how about we just focus on the reality TV show that she's talking about, the Risha Reloaded game dropping, season 2 of Caresha Please. That sounds more feasible. I can really see Young Miami on Love and Hip Hop, to be honest, or The Impact. I really enjoyed The Impact New York. Didn't really get a chance to watch the other one with Jada Waiter and Ari and all them. But overall, I just feel like Young Miami is becoming the poster child for realizing that when your music is not that great, you should stick to other things. Be the influencer that you were destined to be. But overall, tell me, are you here for Young Miami's solo music? And if you watched the newest episode of Caresha Please, did you enjoy it? It was a little bit underwhelming. I'll keep it real. I just feel like this could have been an Instagram live or something with her and Santana. But I feel like they wanted to make a bigger statement. And in a way, maybe this is a rebrand, I ain't mad. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.